All right, let's go up here and tell the boss that she can start making her video. I know she hates making videos on Sunday, especially when I work extra. She likes to get up early and do her stuff. Oh, look at her. You're supposed to be making a video.
I've been waiting for somebody to slowly get their work done.
Slowly? I messed up and I had to fix it.
Are you done?
Yeah, you can have the last video.
Is it the one you're videoing now, or?
Whatever you want.
Okay. So they're all loaded?
They're all loaded. Now get to work while I go take a bubble bath.
Good.
And wait for you to give me a nice massage. It's my birthday month.
Sorry, babe. But if you would have been done yesterday.
Oh no, we ain't going backwards. It's my birthday month. And yeah, another thing, you guys, on this truck, I've got to build bumpers for it. And if you got any cool pictures or ideas for bumpers to build, just something to spark my brain a little bit, please send me some stuff. Thank you.
We're gonna have to take a pallet out, set it aside to get to your pallet.
Okay, I got a forklift.
Hi, Norman.
How you doing?
It's Stormin, Norman the Mormon.
You got that correct. Awesome.
Yeah.
I practiced.
That stuff works good. My hands are always beat up. So
Good.
yeah.
So this one's yours, so this one's going to Pine Top.
Okay.
And I've got to turn it around once you
I like the
pull this out
I'll pull
here.
that in.
Love the parrots. All right, guys. So our delivery's here for the Jeepster. The engine or the motor. I always say it wrong. I know there's a difference. But anyway, we got to offload something that's going up to CarQuest. It's in the way. So he's going to get that out of there so we can get our special delivery out.
I'm pretty excited. Look what I got here. Got another L8P in here. And then all the computer and harness. And a 6L80 in there. I can't wait. This thing is just turning out amazing. Well, it couldn't be a nicer day than this. Sun's shining. I think it's supposed to get up to 70 today, maybe high 60s, but I'm gonna get started on these tubes here, get this bent, and so we got some tube bending to do this morning, and hopefully it looks good. Okay, so how I'm going to start this is, I'm not gonna put this little perch on here yet, but I got a start bend line on here, right there about where the radius starts, so I'm gonna start that bend. And hopefully that works out good enough, or I'm high enough. I think it's going to work. So I've got this angle meter. I need to make one that's a little bit lighter. This was just some pieces of a steering rack that I had left laying around. So I'm gonna set this angle, is what I'm gonna do. And that looks pretty good right where it's at. So I'm gonna tighten this. You can make one of these out of pretty much anything you have laying around. They come in very handy for all kinds of stuff. So if you don't have an angle meter, is what I call it, make yourself one. So I already messed up this morning. I'm an inch short. Jess would laugh. She'd say that's every morning. But just kidding. But I made too short. But then I realized that when I'm looking at this, it's gonna be a little bit different twist from front to back when I stick it out like this, because the bumper is in just a little bit more. So how I'm gonna save it is I'm gonna cut this and sleeve it, and I'm gonna do another bend. It's just gonna help me make it, and then maybe on the next one I can do it in one shot. So I'm gonna piece it together. In other words, I'm gonna put a sleeve inside of it. I'm gonna add my inch back on. I'm gonna give it some Viagra. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. This is where the length of that one is. So I added an inch, and then I'll stick this up there, get my angle cut, and I'll go ahead and cut it. And then I'll bend the back one and put these two together and trim that. So then what I've done, I know that I want 4 to 4.5 inches off of the body. This will be 4 to the center. So that's gonna be pretty good, I think. So this is how I'm going to get my angle. I put that there, and then I take a square right here, or I eyeball it, but basically I'll just do this and I'll sand it in, and it's gonna be perfect. I'm pretty good at eyeballing things. I mean, look, I eyeballed Jess out of a lineup and brought her home, LOL. I think it was the other way around. We'll take it over here, and I will try to hand cut this and then sand it in. Whoa, I almost messed up. I needed to go this way. I guess I could have used it for either side though, so. That was close. Almost messed up. I never almost mess up. I can fix it all. Okay, let me show you my trickery. When you work alone, you get creative with things. These are all my strong hand magnets. And this is what I'm looking for. You can see how it's gonna be in line with that cut, because this sheet metal is gonna go right out to here. That's filling my void on the front. And then on the back, it's coming down on this side. The angle will be a little bit different, but I've taken my magnets. I've got my 3-inch pieces in there, which gives me, let me get my tape measure, 3 3/4 to the center. I was shooting for 4, but I'm gonna settle with it. I think it looks good. You get out too far, you know what I mean? It's gonna stick out past the front already. But I don't know. It's hard to tell until you actually get it up there and visualize it. And then now I'm actually gonna be able to mark this better. I did a cut on it. My inch was a little too long. Looks like my length was probably closer to correct the first time, but that's all right, because this just made it easier for me to handle and work with. Once I get one done, it's gonna really be easy to do, if you know what I mean. So I'm just kind of studying it and checking the look. It's gonna be nice. You can stand on it. You can set your Monster or beer on it, or whatever you call it, the road soda. And then when it comes in right here, I think it's gonna look cool. I hope he likes it. So now what I've done is I've marked on here, I'm gonna be 1.5 inches back. So this is the outside of my tube, and I've come up to where the top side is, and I use this little aluminum angle finder. So my next tube is gonna be this bend here, and then I'll figure out the cut and splice it on. Just to be sure, I gave myself an extra little bit of room so I can trim it in. I got plenty to bend here. I just didn't want to get too short. So let's start this bend and see where we end up. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I kind of gonna make it long. I marked it out here long, and I'm gonna cut below this so I can have room to trim it in, because God knows I'm not perfect. I've messed up already once or twice today, so I'm gonna go long on this, and then we'll be able to get it in there and slide it together. I feel like once we get the angle in this figured out, then we can slide it in slowly. Okay, so I've trimmed it in roughly. I cut me a splice. I went 2 inches. It's just a Fender. It doesn't need to go crazy. So I slide this on here. Now I gotta come forward this much, and I can fine tune my angle here. Like it needs just a little bit, like right here. I feel like my marks were pretty on point. I just didn't go right to them. So I'll cut that and sand it, and then we'll start trimming this off and bringing it forward. I've sanded that in. Let me slide this back on here now. Okay, and then what we're going to do is come right here, and I'm gonna measure, and that looks like 1 inch. So I need to go forward 1 inch. So I'm gonna come up here, and I'm gonna mark 1 inch, and we're gonna cut that, and then we'll see what she looks like. Voila, that made it very easy doing it 2-piece like this, and no one will ever see that when I'm done. Ties in nice. I wish I could figure out how to bolt that to the bumper, but no matter what I do, it's just like I can't come from the bottom. I could pocket and weld a tube in there at an angle, but it would just, I think it would look crappy out here. And if I come in from this and weld a tube in to bolt down, then it holds water. So I think what I'm gonna do is when I, it's just gonna rest on there. I'll cap the bottom of this tube, obviously, so it's not an open void. And then when I wrap this with sheet metal, it'll break inside and it's gonna bolt through here. I'll have 1.5 inches to bolt. It'll be on the inside. It's actually kind of double lipped right there. So it'll be nice and strong, and by the time it's attached everywhere, I think it's gonna be fine. And once it's powder coated, there won't be no rust coming out or nothing. So I don't know. I'd say, what do you think? But can't really tell till it's done. I don't know if I got it sticking out too far. I like it because it's more usable. You can set your beverage up there or whatever, just junk in general, and it makes for a nice step. I like the line from here, and it's also going to help keep the mud off and everything. So I feel like this would look better. And I mean, this is the factory, it angles out right here. I feel like this would look better if it was straight, like if I had that fender extended out here to cover that more, but it's just more work than we want to get into. Now, if I was making it and turning it into glass, maybe, but I still think it's gonna look pretty authentic, and it kind of holds the wheel well. And now look at that. It's back to more symmetrical. When that articulates, that wheel comes back, and we're more centered, where before it was a bigger opening. So I've achieved, my wheel opening is centered now. I guess we'll just have to get it done and see. Now we'll just throw a couple of spots on this, just so it stays where I want it to. We still have to cut the front bottom off, but I also still need to build that little perch to mount that on. So I think that's probably what we're gonna do next, is that little perch right down there. All right, we're gonna get that welded up. I cut that already. Oh yeah, check out what I got from Moto Built. They made for the small 14 bolt and the 10 bolt, so I got a matching set now. Nice inspection hole. Yes, Moto Built makes some nice stuff. You should check out their new Jeep paths, and I mean, they've got all kinds of stuff. Pretty good looking things, so be sure to check out Moto Built. All right, see what line? I can't see nothing. By the time it's powder coated, she's gonna look beautiful. I added that light back on just to kind of see what she's gonna look like, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna strap this in. So I'm gonna make this where I can kind of get it my own shape instead of just taking a piece of square and adding it on there. That way it looks a little better. So I'm gonna brake roll this over here in the brake and start shaping it. Okay, so the tire's in the way to put this piece in there, so I'm kind of mocking up. So we know that tube is 2 inch. So we're gonna come in on that 2 more inches. This will radius in, and I need it to stick out 2 inches. So there's my brake. So I'm gonna draw this and I'm gonna break this angle. That'll be my next move. Now I've drawn it on here. This is the outside though, so we will kind of just adjust and ad lib. Okay, here's what I got. So I added a 1 inch tail just to make it easier to break, and then I'll cut that off, and then I'll cut it off where it meets my tube here. Hey, check this out. So this will get welded on and whatnot, and I'll cap it and everything before I weld it on. And then it just looks like it flows. Once it's all welded together, it's gonna look like it was actually made for it. So I think it'll look good. So when I'm breaking these pieces, I'm doing the other side now. I got all these lines on here, and I kind of break to the same line. Sometimes I'll erase it and change it, just so you can kind of see how easy it is to make them exactly the same. And then I'll get my other break off of this one. You can see how I transferred it right up here. So now I'll break that, and then I'll move it to this one and break that one. Check it out. Perfecto. And I'm gonna leave this one. I'm not gonna cut it. I did mark it, but I'll wait till I get the other side done, just in case it's off just a little bit for some reason, the radius on that other side. Now that I got that spotted on there perfect, I'm just gonna MIG weld it up and sand it, and then we can attach it to the Nerf tube. Got that all welded up, and I'll just sand it.
Gosh, and I've got the microwave cooking away for way too long with this leftover corned beef. I'm trying to make it to Kennedy's softball game in 40 minutes, like 5 minutes down the road, and I'm gonna be late for even that. I'm scatterbrained, guys. Look at that, piled high. That's finally the last of our corned beef. Tons of sauerkraut. I mean, look at how tall that sandwich is. I'll have to smash it down later. There she blows. What do you think? Does it pass the test?
It looks good. You're the best wife ever.
Well, duh.
Hashtag best wife. Now she's taking the biggest one. The biggest half. See that?
I need more calories.
I do like a thick little booty.
Whatever.
And there's my piece. So I'll get that welded on. I've got it magnetized to the bottom and the side, so it's perfect. At least what you can see of it. And then I'll have to cap this because I cut too much off. So when I cap it, I'll use like 3/16 to take up that gap, so it sits right on it perfectly. All this is looking pretty perfect right now, sitting on there. And then next, I just gotta, once I get this welded on, just wrap that and make it where it bolts on. Here's how I fixed that. I cut a slug, and I'm gonna TIG weld that on there so it's penetrated all the way. And I might still put a tube through here. Once I circle this, maybe I can bolt it from underneath. I'll weld a tube in there and make it where that bolts down, at least on this side. That side not so easy, but this side will be. Okay, check it out. She's all blended in. And now I got this already done. I capped that. And I capped this. Okay, now we're back on there. Kind of see what I got going on. And then once this piece sheet metal comes in there, I need to actually go this way with it. But it will tie right in, so it looks like it's all covered up. So I've got about an 1/8 inch of twist in this that I want to twist out. So I've got this clamped, and I'm going to take my 2-inch tube here, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. I measure 3 3/8. Now I'm 3 1/4. I think that'll do it. That's how I take twist out of tubes and stuff. So now I've taken my square and gotten me a line. That's where my Fender's going to be resting on there. I've wiped off all my other lines. So now I'm going to do this one. There you go. So I think what I'm going to do is, so I can get these magnets off of here, I'm either going to start with the end pieces and then weld a seam, or I'll start with the middle. I'm not sure. Let me think about it for a minute here, but that's how I'm getting it all lined up. So I took a piece that I cut off the drop and threw it in my roll to see. This was the same piece that I rolled for the other deal. It's a little bit great for this and almost a little bit great for that, but I think what I'll do is I cut the piece that goes across the top, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and roll it up to that line and then just tap it out. I think it'll be easier than trying to get it exactly correct. We'll just have to see how it works. Here's the piece that I cut. So this will get broke 90 after I roll these ends and get these ends perfect. Then I will put it in the finger brake. Hopefully that works out for me, because you know how it is. Sometimes you think you know what you're doing, but you don't. It might get into this with that roll on there. I'm not sure, but we're gonna give it a shot. All right, let's see if I can make this work. If it doesn't, you might hear me cussing from your house. All right, let's go see what that looks like real quick. Actually, it's going to be kind of hard to tell with this. I think I can make that work. The magnets are so handy. Now I'll do the other side real quick. And then we'll try and make it fit perfect. It's hard to get this started because it's such a... Okay. That's what I got going on. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna tap some of this out slightly. I don't want to go too far. See what I mean about this roll? You just, if you go overboard, you can. It's easier to kind of push a little bit out at a time. So, and then once I get it all completely done and sanded in, oh man, we are so close. Just. A little bit. Just a little bit more. I think that's it. So now I just need to, this is a little bit different radius down here. So it should, I think let's see here. Kind of trying to adjust that where you guys can see what's going on here. Woo. Oh my goodness. Am I going to be able to pull it off? I think I might. I wish I know how to run one of them English wheels or whatever. I guess if I had one I could play with it, but I can barely afford what I have, so one of these days I'll get one to play with. Oh man, that is almost perfect. I need to get my line on here so I'm on the start of the bend, just to make sure. That's one of the nice things about when you make a bend, you know, make sure you got a line for a reference. Like on this tube right here, that's where my start is, and that's what I'm using to guide me. Back in my younger days, I used to get too aggressive, and I wasn't patient enough to just do a little at a time, and I would ruin things. You know what I mean? So close. That's it. Hang on, took a little too much. Okay, that's it. Now I can break this. Can you guys see that? See my lines? See that? Actually, I gotta put a little bit more in back here. Here's the next pain in the butt thing. I gotta pull the jaws off, so I'm gonna pull that one off, and then I need to pull this big one off. So let's move some junk out of our way. Allen in there. Pull this one off. Put this Allen in here so I don't smash my fingers. Oh, that's heavy. Yeah, so much for not smashing my fingers, eh? All right. Let's go for this now. Let me get out of your way so you can see what's going on. So now I need to set this up for 1/8 inch. So what I did is I just slid this jaw forward. You always want it to be the thickness of the material so that it's perfect. That, and you don't destroy your brake. This was another thing I was worried about. This is right on the verge of being too much for this brake, but I think I can do it. I think I can. Okay. Wish me luck. Oh, dang it. All right. I gotta put the piece back on. I forgot about it. What I just did was, it tries to bow it without this support on here, because that's just 1/2 inch thick, so it just kind of flexes it. Another thing you don't want to do. So, I don't know if any of you have ever ran a brake or not, but this is the only kind I know how to run. I haven't ran none of the new CNC press brakes or anything like that, which are very badass. If you have one, you know how to use it. Crazy what that little bit of support will do. All right, take 2. Man, I can't believe I'm going this crazy to make a dang fender flare. Okay, it looks like it's gonna work out. Like I said, it's a little much. You can tell because I gotta bounce it, which isn't good for a brake either. Better check that, make sure. Yeah, that looks pretty 90-ish. All right. It's got a weird twist here, I'm not sure why. Oh, you know what? So what happened, because I wasn't paying attention, I crashed it out on here, so I twisted it, dang it. Otherwise it'd have probably been perfect. Hopefully it didn't change. Oh my goodness. It changed the brake right here, so I'm gonna have to play with it on the bench and hopefully I can get it back. Okay, so you guys can see what I got going on here. Oh, and that's probably why it was so hard to break, because it was crashing out. Okay, I think we might have saved it. Okay, so here's my next mistake that I made. Because I broke it, and it's not really a mistake, it just looks like crap. So you can see, you know, where it's gonna trap dirt and stuff. And I would rather have that a sharper corner, I guess you'd say, so welded. But it just, this is a bigger radius than what I wanted in there, and the brake just doesn't break it sharp. I don't even know that when I weld it if it's gonna be that sharp, but it's worth a better try, I think. You know what I mean? Like if I take and cut that off and then I make a piece that looks like this that bolts onto that, and then I just weld it all the way, except for over here. I'm gonna have to weld one going inside because there's nothing outside and I want it smooth. So you can see, and what I'd planned on doing was sanding this off or cutting it off with a die cutter. And then I was gonna create this piece right here. So I think what I'm gonna do after all that work of breaking it is pull this piece back off, because you can see that the brake also pushed me out further than I want to be. I have a line on the center that I drew all the way around, and once I bring this in, sand it, and put the 1/8 inch on there. So I'm gonna cut that off now and try and do it all over again. It had such a rolled edge that the rubber mallet wouldn't take it out, so I'm having to take it out with a hammer. I just hope that I can salvage this piece.
Haven't been real good with the cooking, probably because we've been gone a bit lately, but tonight we're having pork steaks, and we just marinate those for the day in, I think it's called moi poi, correct me if I'm wrong, and I've made some rice pilaf going on there. But those pork steaks are some of our favorites when you get a little char on them.
I'm at so far, I got this piece made and I welded it on, and then I got a piece welded on back here that flanges in, and then this one's on the outside. I still have to weld all this stuff, but I'm gonna make this back one first. Okay, I got this all welded up. Looks like crap, but when I sand it, it'll look good. And then I'm gonna pull it off there and weld this seam all the way around. And once I get that done, then we'll put it back up there and bolt it. That way it doesn't move. And then we'll put the tube up there and weld the tube to it. And then tomorrow I'll probably drill through here and run a bolt up and put a nut in the bottom of that one. This one I'm probably not gonna be able to, it just don't work out right. I'll just put extra bolts in the body and hope that's good. Okay, I got it spotted up. I'm gonna weld this. Still not sure I like it, but it is what it is now. All right, finally got it on there. I'm not sure I like it. It just, I don't know, I like without it, I think, but it's too late. I just spent a whole day building it. I had some trouble with my welders and stuff. What do you guys think? It doesn't look bad. It just, I don't know. I've never been one for stuff like this. And I'm kind of mad about this because I think I want to make it come over and then follow this angle down. I don't know. I guess the bumper doesn't look bad. Maybe it's just the light. Maybe by the time it's black, it'll look fine, but I don't know. I've had a rough day, so I'm kind of in the bad mood. Stupid welders. The plug on that one, something popped in it just as I was getting ready to go spot, like it maybe had been loose and popped the wire or something. And then this thing, I went to go wind it up and the deal was caught on the trigger and I didn't notice it and I pulled it. So now I got to replace the trigger. I think I got one, but I don't know. It looks good from right here. I just don't know about the round portion versus all this square stuff, but the reason I did it was this was round. I mean, that's a bigger radius, but I don't know, maybe to grow on me, I'll sleep on it. Who's graced my presence in the shop this morning?
Just for a minute, I gotta go to the grocery store and get ingredients for somebody's German chocolate cake.
Oh yeah. Make sure special dark chocolate.
Oh yeah, okay.
We can't find it up here. It's hard to find anymore.
It's impossible.
I used to have stock. Hey, you know where you might check in the cabin? There might be some.
I'll go look, but I don't think so. I feel like we may have already brought it.
Hey, come here and look at this fender. Tell me what you think. It's growing on me. Last night I was so mad. My welding plug had a loose connection and popped the plug, so I had to fix that this morning.
Why wouldn't you have liked it? I think it looks good.
I don't know, it just looks round and the rest of it looks square.
Well, it is definitely round.
But the front of that's really round, and I don't know, it was the cleanest way I could make this. So, I don't know, one more to do today and then we can drink about it later maybe. So we start my
Tomorrow.
birthday. What?
You can't drink about it.
It's a month. I get to celebrate a birthday month.
You said you're working.
So here's what it looked like without it. You guys tell me, you like it without it or do you like it with it?
So I'm in the cabin looking for the special dark. We do try to make sure there's some basic stuff in here when we have Airbnb guests, and then Airbnb guests have, over time, of course, left some stuff. And check it out, special dark. So this is what we usually always use to make frosting, make cake, but literally sometime last year, we were having difficulty finding it. So he's gonna be happy to see this for his birthday cake tomorrow. But I did a quick Google search and guess what? It said there is actually a shortage because the cocoa plants or fields had a drought or something of that nature. So literally this is hard to find. It's like off the shelves everywhere.
So I took a little break this morning to clean the shop out. I got another job coming in that I had scheduled. He's been waiting for me to let him know, but it's a square body 4-wheel drive truck that he started on and hasn't had a chance to finish, and asked me if I'd do it quite a while back, and I said yep, as soon as I get some stuff cleaned out and get that Toyota rolling. And a lot of it is, you know, electrical stuff that I'll have Drew come over and work on when I'm busy working on other stuff, and he's got a list of things for me. So yeah, I've just been trying to clean shop up. It gets messy quick around here. Like I said, it's a pretty sweet looking old truck. Wish I had it, LOL. You meet Greg Bickle.
Hey.
From Gilbert, Arizona.
How you guys doing?
I was just checking out his truck. This is his, what year is it, Greg?
77.
77. It's clean as hell. It's beautiful. And I was just admiring his trailer. He does all kinds of work. I think he said he just didn't want to do no more. So
Yeah.
But beautiful trailer. So we got Greg's baby in here. We're gonna be doing all kinds of stuff I don't normally do, but stuff I used to do years ago. We're gonna be doing the wiring, just putting it back together. It's completely gutted inside. I think that's locked, but the truck is pretty amazing. Some crazy stuff. All off-road designs, springs and stuff on it. It's got ARBs in it. Reminds me of when I was a kid back in the 80s. You used to see stuff like this at the river all the time. Yeah, I'm gonna have to learn how to put a truck together again. He's got Dakota Digital Dash and just all kinds of stuff. So one of the things we're gonna do, get drive shafts going, and he wanted me to look at angles and whatnot. They got some pretty good spring height on this, so we'll just have to see what they got. Yeah, check out this trailer he built. I love it. This stuff's heavy duty. You can tie right down through it. It's got a tilt deck on it. Big axles. Don't have to worry about cleaning the deck because it just falls off, and he had it all galvanized and everything. Pretty sweet. Check out what Greg brought me. He was at Copper State. He knows me pretty good. Walking around,
Yep.
two in my pocket, one in my mouth, and there's one on every bench around here. Thanks, Greg.
You're welcome.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
I
you
will
bet.
talk to you soon.
I'm
And
looking forward to it.
I can't wait to see that thing all done up.
Me
So
either.
you guys have a nice trip home, and I'll
Take
talk
care.
to you soon.
See you later.
Well, that's awesome. Yep, Greg hit me up. Oh, I think it was around Christmas time about finishing up his truck for him. He said he just didn't have time. He actually owns a big company, Arizona Precision Manufacturing. He does big heavy braking and all kinds of stuff. And he owns a trailer company. And that trailer that he had there that he had built was beautiful. I loved the tilt deck and stuff. One of these days I'll build me one. Get this thing back in here and see if we can't get some more work done on it. Well, Drew, I got your project here. I hope you're ready to work. This one's gonna keep you busy for a while. So plan on living here, I guess. He's gonna be bringing some more stuff, but it is completely gutted, and I don't know much about putting these things together anymore because I haven't done one in so long, but it's a very clean truck. It's got a 4L80, and yeah, so get over here and get to work, damn it. All right, we're gonna start by getting these parts on here I made yesterday. I gotta trim that off. So last night I went to wind this thing up, and this trigger got hung up on one of the lugs on the tire, and the switch is working, this part of it, but this got all bound up like I broke something. I'm not sure what's going on, but I used to have one, and of course now I don't. But I think this is what happened right here. I broke this piece right here, and it wouldn't depress anymore. So I'm gonna have to fix it or find one. Well, it turns out I fixed it. Now I don't have to go waste my money. But that little red piece of plastic, what happened is it broke off the corner there. You can see where that one is still there and that one is not. That's it right there. It was stuck in there, not letting it work, but I rednecked it, you know what I mean? And we're back in business. Okay.
Should we go see if the birthday boy wants to lick some cake batter? I can hear him out here working away. Hey, almost birthday boy. Do you want any cake batter? I mean, normally we all see you licking spatulas and beaters and...
Well, there's not much in here. What,
Well,
do you got me on a diet?
I had to get it all in your cake pans.
Is this the batter?
That's the batter.
Did you put the chocolate chips in?
No, I totally forgot the chocolate chips. Oh my gosh, he's gonna kill me. I really did forget them. You guys, I'm making a German chocolate cake, which obviously, traditionally doesn't have those. I even bought more.
Do I look like a traditional guy?
No, not at all.
No, that's right.
Shit.
You better go sprinkle them in there before.
No, I don't want to open the oven. It'll ruin the
No,
cake.
it won't. I've done it. I'm a baker.
You're something, all right.
All right, I got it all polished up. Now I can put it on. Going just a little bit faster because I know what I'm doing now. But I got my magnet on the bottom, magnet on the side. Now I just gotta booger that on there and sand her up.
All right, everybody, we are close to building this cake. This needs to cool and set up a little bit more, or I'm hoping it sets up a little bit more. I think it will. It's set up pretty good so far. And then the cakes, the frosting. I did fail at getting his chocolate chips in there. The cakes were already too far along, so I feel bad about that. But I think he's gonna be happy once it's all assembled. It's gonna taste like an authentic traditional German chocolate cake. All right, here it is, a little bit lopsided. I've got some frosting falling off the side over here because I made it too thin. It was too thick, then I got it too thin. Anyway, I think it's gonna still taste good, even though it's not the prettiest. I used to love to make cakes when my kids were little. Now I'm not so good at it, I feel like, but I bet it tastes good. Tonight for dinner, I'm popping some salmon in the oven that's got a smear of pesto on it. I've never made that before, so I'll let you know how it is. But we love salmon, we love pesto, so figured can't go wrong. Quick and easy, and I've already roasted some sweet potatoes and broccoli. It's gonna be Thursday night's dinner.
Well, I have to work late again on my birthday's eve, but...
I have to work too.
Yeah, that's right. Anything Shannon related is what you have to do.
I know, we won't go into detail.
But she did make me a fine dinner. Look at that, salmon and sweet potatoes and broccoli.
That's pesto on that salmon. Hopefully you like it.
Another long day. I just got to get this outside welded up and sanded off, and I will be done for the day. But that's, I guess, done for the night. It's pretty black out there right now. After welding it and sanding it and everything, and I even tried going slow on this side. It did the same as yesterday, which I had to cut right here, and then I just barely had to tweak it to get this to touch again. What it did is when I welded these curves, it tried to straighten this thing out. And I'm sure it's got a little bit of banana here, but you can't really see it. So cutting it here and then re-welding it and sanding it relaxes it and gets it back where it lines up with all my holes. So you just got to play with metal. It's kind of weird. When it gets hot, it don't like to stay straight. And so it's my birthday.
It's finally here.
It sucks getting older, but at least I get to do whatever I want on my birthday. Well, the only thing I want to do.
Happy birthday. I love you.
Love you. I'm glad you found me.
Me too.
April 14th, I met her.
Yep, right around the corner.
Yeah, we're gonna celebrate that too. She says that she has something for my birthday. It's called the spa day right here in her spa.
I told him he would like the way it feels.
Oh boy.
Who doesn't? It's nice and cold and
Yeah.
refreshing. Huh. Now you're gonna find him here in my red light mask next.
This is what I get for her birthday. She's gonna tune me up with all her goodies that she has. Make me look 10 years younger. One of them little poodles that gets to go to the spa. Now she's gonna trim my ear hairs. She's just literally just giving me a tune-up, LOL. She thinks that trimming these ear hairs is gonna fix my selective hearing. Now the queen has brought me to Darby's for
You're
a
supposed to be letting me video you.
beautiful breakfast.
It's your birthday.
And they have Bloody Marys here, which is what I like.
First stop on Shannon's birthday experience. Here's my birthday boy with his Bloody Mary. I had to stop him from trying to take the video and putting me in the video. We have to feature him on his special day.
Every day is special with you.
Cheers, babe. Oh, look at him sneaking a drink. I love you.
Ooh, huevos rancheros with me girl.
They look delicious.
Can't wait to get my birthday dessert.
This birthday boy of mine is awfully busy. He keeps saying, "What's next? What's next?" Guess what's next, hon? We're going to Wine Mountains. It's 8:51.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I'm coming here for the quiche.
Wino.
What do you mean, wino?
Wine and Bloody Mary in the same hour? That sounds fun.
Yeah, we're gonna day drink. Why not? All right. You're going to get pampered for a little bit.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, let's go.
Oh.
There's the birthday boy. Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, happy birthday again.
Thank you, dear.
Sounds like you were sleeping, were you?
No.
Yeah, right. How was it?
Good.
Good.
I never sleep.
Yeah, you were snoring, you mean?
Yeah, one of those moments where you fall asleep and then jump into
Yes, dirt.
Jess and I just got back from lunch, and someone sent me a bag of these bicycle fabrication supply. I don't know if they came here by accident because I get a lot of stuff on accident, but this is a little clip that holds, looks like probably a brake cable or something on. This could be used for a brake line mount, all kinds of stuff. Pretty cool looking. So if someone sent them to me, let me know. And maybe they got shipped here by accident, who knows? But they're pretty cool.
Well, what do you have here? You just got back from checking the mail.
From a big fan, Phil Green.
Oh, and this is a perfect day for this to arrive, Phil, because today just happens to be his birthday. I know you didn't do this for the birthday, or I would assume you didn't, but the irony is great.
A load of chicken shit.
Shitload.
A shitload of chicken shit.
Let me see, hold still. Shitload. Special shit, bullshit, aw shit, chicken shit, good shit, and no shit.
And I don't take no shit from you.
Oh, aw shit. Well, thank you, Phil.
Thank you. That's very nice of you.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
We will use it.
Wait a minute, guys. We
Wait.
found something else here in the box.
Yeah, there's something for Jess.
Dipshit. Oh, that's great.
I'm kidding.
So I've actually had some of these, but I haven't had that one, the dipshit. Have you?
No.
Alrighty
Big Cock
then.
Ranch.
But I know.
Look who's getting all dolled up for me.
Oh, why do you assume it's for you?
I guess for the waiter. At dinner.
Yeah, maybe I'll get drinks quicker this way if my hair's done.
I'm pretty sure you don't have trouble getting drinks anywhere, dear.
Oh, I don't?
Especially when your husband's there.
That's right. That's true.
Alright, I guess I better go get cleaned up for dinner.
Okay.
Well, it's been a very relaxing day. Jess took me to get breakfast, took me to get a massage, took me to get a pedicure. And now she's going to take me to dinner. As soon as I get squeaky clean, she said. Just admiring my wife getting ready. Look at, she's got a little tail. Is that what you call a furry? Are you one of them furries?
Oh, that's funny.
Right, off to dinner with my beautiful bride. She's buying, right? Yeah.
I didn't bring my purse.
It's a good
I'm gonna
thing.
pull a Shannon where he's like, oh shoot, I forgot my wallet.
I don't think that ever happens.
Yes, that actually has happened on more than one occasion. We can even ask the chalet when we get there.
Oh yeah, but I had to go get it. I didn't get stuck not buying.
That's why I don't carry my wallet. I mean my purse.
It's all right, dear. Deer in the headlights. We're at dinner and someone pulled up. They got their headlights on. Hey, Tio, that's what deer look like when you spotlight them.
Happy birthday, Shannon!
Happy birthday, babe. Happy birthday.
Yeah, love you guys.
Happy birthday!
Thank you guys.
Happy birthday, Shannon. I'll take this. Happy birthday. There's the birthday boy.
Well, we better refill that. We better call a limo to take us all home. We got the sea bass and some, whatever them things are called. Brussels sprouts. They're very good. You got ravioli.
Country fried steak.
What'd she get?
Donnie gets out a lot.
She got the Cajun catfish.
Oh, that's one thing I've never had here.
No, that's what I told her. I'm like, good, I'm ready to try it.
Yeah.
I know. Boy, oh boy. Okay, we're gonna sing Shannon happy birthday. We're not gonna make everyone listen to us singing happy birthday, but we're about to sing happy birthday. To you. Oh man, those lungs are getting I love you, babe. What does that mean, toupee?
Where are we partying tonight, huh? Oh. Yeah. Papa Peter, did he blow smoke on you tonight? Yeah, we're just kidding. He wouldn't do that. You're just naturally happy like us, huh? It's a happy family here. Who's 66 in this thing?
To tell you to do a spinner?
Look at that. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure we could put a bearing on it. Look at that. Leave it to David to come up. We should make it a spinner, yeah. I like the way you think, David. Woo! Love you, Chris.
Love you, buddy.
That old Peter even does dishes. He's a regular old housewife. We had some bacon, pancakes, and eggs this morning. Lots of partying last night. We're getting after it this morning. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but he's gonna be welding. Yeah, I'm sure loving these. And we also got some carrier bearings in stock and some emblems for the cars we build. Saturday morning, Pete is going to town. Greg showed up with some more parts. He got
One more trip.
yeah, we got the hole underneath of his truck full of parts. Basically everything there. So we got a good start to get with, and yeah, Pete is having fun over here. So I'm screwing with all kinds of stuff today, figuring out, whenever you mount a pedal, I like to have it as high as I can, right up against the hood. I almost got a little too high on my scrambler and had to do some cutting work on my aluminum right here, but we made it work. But on this one, I'm being smart. I measured it out and marked it. And the reason being you want it all the way up there is because when we mount these pedals, and this is the wrong one. I ordered the wrong one, so they're gonna send me the right one. This is the reverse mount. Whoops. But on these pedals that they have, they got this new extension that goes right here, and it is pretty badass. So it gives you 10-to-1 ratio, I believe it is. And the idea is, you know, I like to have the center of my pedal pad probably, I'd say probably 6.5 to 7 inches to the center of the pad. That way short people and little feet people can drive them or whatever. But anyways, you want to mount that as high as you can. So once I get the right one, I am going to build a mount. I always like to make my mount come off of this tube and go to the firewall, and then this just slides through the firewall, and then my master cylinders will be out here. So I can't do that today, but I guess next what we're gonna go to, while Pete is welding and stuff, we're gonna go to mounting the shocks. So I'll build a couple of ears for the bottom of the axle. These are gonna be very easy to mount. It's just gonna come up between these two tubes and it'll kind of angle in a little bit. So, and then the rear is gonna be a little more intense. I'll probably have to wait till Pete is done to do that, but I'm gonna cut a hole in the fender well here to get them to come up through there, and then I'll have to build a little sheet metal box around it. All right, so we're gonna be mounting the ADS shocks next. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this fender off just to get it out of my way so I can get in there and actually do what I need to do. We're gonna start by making the lower brackets, which are just a couple of simple tabs. And what I'm gonna start with, this is 3-inch. So I use it, I'll draw me a little half of the circle, make a tab, and then once I get one made, then I'll make the rest of them. All right, so when I made my bracket, I used 1 3/4 tubing to draw around. And the reason being is the shoulder that's on this right here, you know what I mean? You see how I got nice clearance around it or whatever? So you don't want to go too big right there, then you know, you need more spacing or whatever. This usually works out pretty good, 1 3/4 or 1.5 inches to draw around. Then I just use that tube stack to slam the hole in it or transfer the hole. So now what I'll do, I've got this mock-up eyelet and I've got 20 thou shims. So I'll take this tab right here and I'll put a shim on, then I'll put another shim on, and then I'll take this tab right here, and then I got my bolt already cut where it's nice and short, where it's not going to be a lot of screwing around. Get this on here, and then we can spot this on the axle and then start moving on with the rest of it. So that's what's next. Okay, scratch that. I changed my mind after holding it over there and looking at it. I'm gonna take a 1/2 inch off one side so that the bracket is not straight. It's gonna angle kind of like a factory bracket. So I'm just gonna redraw this, taking a 1/2 inch off, like that. I'll do 2 of them, so both of the inside ones will be 1/2 inch shorter. Okay, we got this remocked up. So I'm gonna take this over here and kind of show you what we got going on here. So instead of just being straight and then using all the misalignment, this will take a little bit of the misalignment out. We want it all the way out on the corners where I like to do it. You just want to make sure that when your steering comes out, usually if you're right here on the knuckle, you'll have good clearance, but you get my drift. Got this going on, and baby's hanging out. We like to teach him to watch the welds. What are you doing? Yeah. She's like, give me some goggles, Mom. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and put the shock on here. I've got the shock already set at 7 inches of travel, which is the center of the travel. And this is something like what we're gonna do right here. So my next thing will be make my first ear right in here, and then I can make the second ear. Let me kind of show you what I'm talking about. So we're gonna make this one where it comes off that tube right there. And then I'll have to, once I get that on there, I'll probably articulate it with the forklift just to make sure that nothing hits. I'm pretty sure we're gonna be good, but you can never be too sure. Don't wanna be redoing it later. All right, the top head is a little bit tighter, so I'm gonna go with 1.5 inches. So I'll draw this and I'll start making my bracket. I'm just gonna make it long and trim it in because this one's gonna have a little bit of a break in it. Not quite sure how this is gonna work out, but I'm just kind of playing with it. I'm gonna go ahead and break this and then I'll just start trimming this in. So we'll have to see if it's going to work out. We'll just start with a little bit of break first and see how it works out. I don't know if that's gonna work out or not, but we're gonna try it. See if the, see how it kind of, I should have put this side of the deal in there. Yeah, I think we're just gonna see if it works or not. So next I will take and transfer this line right here. I'm gonna go there, and I'll come over here. Hopefully I left enough material there to do what I need to do. So I'll try cutting that off first and see how it goes. I trimmed my first line just to kind of see before I go to the next one. So now I'm going to go to this one. And see how that looks. Start that right there. So kind of see what I got going on here. I'm just slowly trimming this in. I need to take a little angle off the top there and see, but maybe it'll work. I've taken, just to ensure these don't move, I put a hose clamp on it. I got that side on there. I got this side on there. I got both of the front brackets made, and I'll have PETA spot them on. It's not perfect yet. I gotta twist it. There you go. There it is right there. But once I get that done, then I'll go ahead and make the back bracket. I'm gonna use some of that masonite or whatever to make it. I'll kind of copy this bracket and make it so I don't waste my time with metal. I could probably just use it in metal, but by the time I cut it too far away, it's better just to make one pattern, and then I can make both of them with the the masonite. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and spot this bracket on. I made my little masonite pattern, but I need this to be in position so I can finish making the bracket. PETA ran to go get some pizza. Man, I wish I was tall like him. I can't hardly see over this dang thing. Okay, so there's the first one. And then I made my little pattern over here. So I'll take this and then just start trimming it in. Okay, check this out. This is just a rough little draft, but it cuts real easy. That's why I like using it for making patterns. You can see this will get trimmed off actually more. So nice little pattern. And I've transferred it to my metal, so I'll leave the line and just kind of start fitting it in just like normal.
Well, I just came home from tanning and look what's in the neighbor's yard. Some turkeys. They get all the wildlife over here because they're not home often, so I guess it's a little more quiet. Since we've got the lake behind us, I think a lot of stuff just kind of comes in from there.
That's when you know you're good, when you can take your bracket from your other side and it fits this side. Always nice to have everything perfect because it just makes everything, building everything easier when everything is symmetrical. All your brackets turn out to be the same. Loving it. Just ordered some seasonings to replace some of the ones that were low. And this one I've had forever. And she said, wonder why it's not orange.
I went to combine the tiny little bit that was left in here into this container, and I'm dumping it in. And the one coming out of this one is this like white-ish color, but look, that's orange in the new container. And Shannon said, it might be because this is so old. Sure enough, Best by March 30th, 13.
We preserve our things around here. I don't think a little old salt's gonna hurt you.
No, I don't think so. I guess not.
All right, back to work. Okay, I just got one more little bracket to make. Then PETA can spot these on, and then when he's done welding on the bumper, we can cycle it. He's slowly getting it. He's got to do an overpass on it. You can tell he started doing some right there. Pretty sexy bumper. Now we'll get these on here, and then we'll do the old cycle test. While he's still working on that back bumper, I'll start trying to figure out how I'm gonna do these shocks back here. It's gonna mount to this tube, and I'm gonna cap this in somehow. I'm not sure yet. PETA's got the bumper off on the bench so he can do the underside, and I've got to cut this dog turd out of here, unfortunately. So I should have just did it when I had it upside down and everything, but you just never know what you're gonna do. And I need to go through there, so it's gonna be a whole lot cleaner without it. Started by scraping, easier than wire brushing it because this stuff just melts. But you can see I got 3 spot welds, and then there's one here, one there, and one there. So I'll drill them out, and then I'll start scraping this and find out where they're at on this top portion. Going on is I'm gonna probably cap this and incorporate 2 more ears up here where this will sit like that, and then this is gonna come up through the hole such as this, and I'll weld a piece of 3/16. I'll make a box that's part of the cage or bolts to it or something, and then bolts to this, and that's gonna be my upper bracket. Then that will kind of come in and out, whatnot. And now we got elk just cruising down the street. It's a wildlife day, I tell you. They're just hanging out, trying to figure out how to get in that yard probably. So now I'm gonna make the lower shock mounts. Pete is still welding on this, making it purty. I got all the nasty sheet metal work done. Man, nothing like that nasty job. Got them all opened up and stuff. I hate messing with old sheet metal. So we'll get these things going here. Okay, we got tabs spotted. Got the shock through the hole. Now I just need to make a plate that comes down from here to here, and I'll make a flange of some sort that goes around or whatever, but just for starters we're gonna get a plate and get a hole in it and get a spacer so we can box that in, and once we get that up there then I can work on making the rest of it. But should work out pretty good, I think. We don't know what we're doing here really, but we're trying to make a shock mount. There's not a whole lot to attach to in here. It's kind of a disaster because there's no structure. Didn't want to cross tube across there, that way you could fold the seat forward and come back in here in the back seat and stuff. So it's just a shock, it's not a coilover, so it's not going to take much structure, but still it's kind of tricky. Do a little bit of trickery to hold the shock where it needs to be. He's getting this side up there. We kind of got a game plan on this shock tower, I think. This has kind of been a real treat trying to figure it out. So this is my box. Inside is going to be these tabs, and this is close to the edge. I didn't want this to be square, so I angled it. So I got tabs in here. I'll weld the nut on the other side of this tab. That way I don't have to, reach in the fender well or whatever. And then this is going to cap it, and there'll be a big hole saw in it where I might even just weld a tube inside of it just to keep it from being an open void or whatever. And then that'll seal it from the outside, from the wheel well, basically. And then this is where that tube runs along. So I made one and I sheared out all the pieces for the other side. Hopefully the sheet metal on the body is the same, because this has been a real mother trucker, if you know what I mean. So that's where I'm at. And what I'll do is I'll probably just take from my tube stack here. Yeah, I'll probably do 1.5 inches. That way I got plenty of room for a socket. And then that'll give me room to weld the inside of that, or PETA can weld it. But, so I'll cut just a real small piece and shave it, and I'll hole saw this 1.5 inches. I'm gonna use my new hole saw on this. I'm gonna go ahead and take it to 1 3/4 inches, I think. That way it's easier to get inside to weld that. PETA's getting all the roof tabs spotted on there. Bumper turned out sweet. She looked good and beefy. So here's what I was talking about. I just kind of cut a tube on an angle and slid it in there, and then PETA can TIG weld that. Said that turkey's roosting in our tree. Where's he at? Where at? Oh, I see him. That's pretty awesome. Gonna make turkey season easy. If he's just roosting right here in my yard. There he is. Gobble, 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 gobble. Getting closer. Quite the ordeal just to get a shock in here. Now we're putting the tabs in the other side box. PETA's welding this one. I'm gonna MIG weld the outside of this so I can sand it off and get it prepared. PETA's cleaning up. We got these boxes done for the shock towers. We just gotta put a 1-inch flange on them tomorrow and finish welding these in. Then we can get them mounted and maybe cycle that thing. This is my workout, guys. She's stretching out for me. Another beautiful day out here in the neighborhood. That was pretty crazy last night. There was the turkeys roosted in the tree right here, which is pretty wild. The one flew, but they stayed right here close. Well, Jess rushed me into getting up and getting to work. She made me work out. I had my coffee. I didn't get no breakfast though. But we're gonna try and get the flanges on these shock boxes that go in the back of the bed, or whatever you call it, and hopefully get you guys a video. I know Jess is in a hurry. She's like, hurry up, I don't wanna be doing this all day. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shear a bunch of 1-inch pieces to go around this to create a flange, kind of radius it out. It was kind of a pain in the butt doing this. I didn't really explain too much of what I was doing, but when I started by putting this piece up right here to try and figure out where this was going to be, and I'm hoping that it works good with my cycle. But that flange is gonna go around here, and one of the problems I'm gonna have trouble with is this little step right here. I'm gonna try and smash that out once I get the flange box made, and that's how we're mounting it. And Pete is all ready to go. Look at him. He's got his hoodie on. He's like a little hood rat in here.
Sunday fun day.
Yeah. So here's what I'm talking about when I say flange. I'm gonna work on this and then Peter can weld that on there. And what I'm doing is I'm just 45 in these and I'm using this. Good morning, little Peter. Good morning. Jamming. Peter's gonna be trying to work on smashing them little ribs out while I'm doing this. I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is kind of how I cheat it. I use this to chop the ends. And then I just sand them in. Just like so. All right. You can kind of see what I got going on here. Now we're gonna spot all these corners, weld this together, and I'm not gonna weld this to it yet. I'll keep it as a flat plate, and I can clean it up where Peter can weld it good. And then we'll put holes in each corner, probably one in the middle. So quite a few holes. We'll just put 1/4 inch holes in it because it's basically just holding it to the body. Well, it's not the prettiest, but it's just sheet metal. And what's gonna happen is by the time we get through clamping that 3/16 plate to it, she's gonna mash up nice and pretty. So Peter's gonna weld this, we'll sand it, radius it, punch it, and then we'll weld it to that. Okay, I got my holes laid out. I'm gonna punch them. Peter's starting to weld up do some pretty boy shit. All right, he's got this one all done, nice and pretty. So we can get that. I'll let that cool just a little bit more while he's welding that one. And on this side, you know, we took the rosebud and tried heating it up and stuff, but to tell you the truth, on this side, I just clamping it and malleting it out. You can kind of see on that one, I'll show you when I get that off of there, but it's working better just tapping it with the hammer. Rework the molecules, as my old man used to say. And yeah, if you really wanted to get crazy, we could take a slice when we're done and just weld it back together, because it's basically, we're just shrinking the metal. But when I clamp this piece to it and do it, it's doing pretty good. And then once I bolt it up, you'll never notice it. And then when we go to do the paint and body, like this will get all like a liner of some sort in it. So what I usually do is I'll have a mask around where this flange sits, and then that'll all be lined and everything, and then we line up over the edge. I like to go like to this point right here, and what that does is keeps it from paint chipping and stuff like that. It just gives it a nice little tough truck look. And same thing with the door jamb, you know what I mean? When you know, the paint always gets chipped and stuff, but you do a nice little heavy liner and roll it over the edge, and it just gives it this nice look. So that's how I've always done it. It's durable, lasts a long time. All right, let's get back to smashing this with a hammer. Yeah, what is this? that's gonna be good. Ahead and clamped it the backwards way from this side and worked it out too. So once I sand that, it's gonna look good. Okay, you can see how that's just going to weld to the tube there. And it bolts to the body, and that's where it gets all its structure from all this corner and everything. But you can kind of see how we are, and once I bolt that up, it's gonna pull it up nice, and then I'll just kind of give it another tappity tap with the hammer, and then we'll get our shock on there. So we got our first one in. Look at that nice fit. And the sheet metal looks pretty freaking good, but it still has a little bit of a buckle. So what I'm gonna do is when we take it back apart, I'm gonna take a slice, maybe 2 slices, and just weld it back together and sand it, and that'll take the buckle out of it and make it a lot cleaner. So I don't have to have so many bolts holding it to keep it flat. But yeah, nice. It's gonna seal it from the outside. Little shock tower. We can still enter from behind the seat when he folds it forward. I don't know, let me know what you think, boys and girls. The other things that was nice is we welded our nut in, and that just, you know, you work everything from one side. I might have got a little tight on my pocket. I'm pretty sure we're pretty close to flat, so it's not gonna come back anymore, but don't be like me. Give yourself a little more clearance. But for the most part, I think it looks pretty sweet if it works. So we'll find out here when we get the other side buttoned up and cycle it. And you'll hear me scream if it's no good, right, PETA? We'll cry like a bunch of school children. These are a must, in case you gotta drill to China. Nice. And the final touches. Not that we need hubcaps on there right now, but it just looks cool. Gives you ambition. Makes you want to work on it, if you know what I mean. Check them welds out. It's beautiful. Well, let's just cross our fingers and hope it cycles now. Well, the good news is nothing's binding. I need to cycle the steering still. So I'm gonna pick it up from the rear and turn the steering wheel because I get more compression out of it. Picking up the rear, just the weight difference or whatever, but everything is looking pretty damn good. Check this one. We are touching this side, which is not good, but I can fix that. I might have to take and put a little bubble right here and do some additions, but I don't know how bad it's touching. We'll see when I get to that point. Let me look at this spring and see. Yeah, so it's negative right now. PETA, let that down slowly. So that spring's gonna get longer, so I'll be able to kind of tell. Go ahead and let it down. See it coming away. So, well, that means I could probably even sand that where you wouldn't even notice it. I might not need to put a bubble in it, but we might just do it for extra measure. You know how things like to move. Pick it up from the rear now and see. We're picking the rear. Come on. which is no big deal. Okay, sorry about that focus, guys. But I'm pretty excited because when this gets shorter, and I could actually probably roll the axle forward just a little bit with the links, which I might try doing that, but I still think I'm gonna go ahead and it'll be another cool little detail. I'll just take a piece of tube and cope it in there and cut that out. Into another little problem. I should have went 1.5 inches right there instead of 1 3/4, because when it rotates, it gets into it. I didn't figure it'd be that tight. Oh, but it was. I was thinking I could turn the reservoir to the inside. This is one of them deals where now I wish I had a remote reservoir, LOL, but I hate remote reservoirs because they just, I don't know. But what we're gonna do is go ahead and check some other stuff here real quick. So here was my dilemma. But I just realized, you know what? It's as easy as putting a hose on here, undoing that clamp, and I can remote reservoir that. I didn't want to, but it is what it is. Then I don't have to change any of my bracketry except for this inner one right here. I'm gonna have to trim it down just a little bit to clear that when it articulates in. It's got plenty of misalignment in the misalignment, but it just needs a little bit on that tab. It was preloading into that tab, so we'll cut that off real quick, shrink that, and then we'll remote reservoir it. Damn it, I hate when I screw up. The fender flares turned out pretty sweet. So here's our fix right here. This is what you call redneckery. This is why we just spotted everything until we cycle it. And I'll trim that out while PETA breaks the other one off. And then we'll spot it back on. We're gonna take the old tube stack. That first deal we did 1 3/4. So I'm gonna go ahead and go down to, just for the hell of it, I'm gonna go ahead and go down to 1 1/4 inches. It's not gonna take a whole lot off, but it's going to damn sure take enough that I don't have to do it twice. So this is all I need to do. The outside was fine. Nothing but a thing. I got the one done already, and you know what? We decided Pete's wanting to be on the road by noon, but I think we can get her done. Heck, we got an early start this morning. I'm gonna go ahead and do that back little bubble out on that. So, all right, so I got my 2 shims back out. I got my tab that we cut down. We left the one on there, so this is gonna make for a quick job. And yeah. All we gotta do is put the old bolt in there. Let's get the right length one. Okay, 2 shims. My tab. There we go. Now Pete is ready to weld that one. That should give me plenty of clearance. You can see how low it sets it below that shoulder, and that's what I was talking about when I was building them, and look at me, I screwed up. Pete is getting the old miller back out. do a little more glue action on this fine Sunday. I cut me a piece of 2-inch tube, and now I'm going to just cut me a piece out of it. Here's what we're starting with. Cut my angles. Now I'm going to cut that angle on there. You can kind of see what I got going on. Check this out. Now we're going to go the extra mile and make a little radius piece that goes on there just so I can get that other bolt in there. And we literally find anything. We don't have a tube stack that big, but I'm going to have to work on one, LOL. But check that out. So then we traced around this. We're gonna weld that on there, sand it. But before I do that, I gotta cut this out. Come on, you gotta be able to cut all the way through there, huh? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Your daddy now. Almost ready for Papa Pita to weld up. Sweet. Check that out. Like it was meant to be. Are getting closer. Does anyone know? Does anyone make one of these that's battery powered that takes that little bitty blade. Dang, phone won't focus or whatever, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. One of these little saws. I need one that's battery powered. If you know, send me a link, please. Oh boy, it's almost going to be a real Sunday. Got both sides all cut out. Now ready for the install and drill another hole. And our final assembly. We got this one all buttoned up. Check that out. Looks cool. That's how you know when I mess up, when you see crap like this. Bubbles and shit that shouldn't be there, LOL. Well, the final touches. PETA got all these welded on now that we know we got a plan. One of the things that I was thinking after looking at this and wishing, you know, that this, you know, I wish they made a head that came out the side, but they just don't have the clearance. Maybe if they did a longer eyelet, maybe they could do it, but I'm thinking what I'm gonna do is probably get another one of these clamps and just rotate this to the back, because I hate, you know, having it over here, and then just do a short hose that kind of comes around or comes over and dives into it or something. But then it's still on the shock, so it's nice and clean. You don't have it cluttering up this area up here. Either way, I know that we can make it work, so it wasn't really a mess up, if you know what I mean. We cut that one down. It articulates. We got the rear fixed. It was 10 o'clock when we started fixing all this stuff, and it's 11:30, so we're almost done for the day. Pete is gonna get on the road. It's a 3-hour drive for him. Really appreciate you guys watching our junk. Let us know what you think of our shock boxes or towers or whatever. And you know, the bumper turned out so sweet, just being welded and everything. And I might still try to look for some different style lights that might fit there, but I think Brian said he loves it, so we'll see. The fender flares turned out pretty sweet. Quite a bit of work, especially when it warped and pulled, you know, so pay attention when you're welding stuff, you know what I mean? I was in a hurry and I knew it was gonna move, I just didn't know how much. But yeah, we're just practicing what my dad taught me. I can mess it up 3 times before you can make it once. Thanks, Dad, for that motto, LOL. Not sure it's a good one, but we messed up a couple times and we're back on track, and it ain't even lunchtime yet. All right, folks, Jess is crying for my last video, so enjoy. And as always, thank you for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't, or if you don't want to, don't. Thank you. Happy Sunday.